Hello and welcome back to another episode of MoJo, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the one and only Powerpuff Girls / JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recap and discussion podcast. I'm Raven.
And I'm Alison.
Alright, so I don't think we have any news about Powerpuff Girls today, so today we're going to be talking about the episodes Telephonies and Tough Love. So I'm going to start by talking about Telephonies. The episode begins with the narrator getting prank called by Ace and the Gangrene Gang, and naturally, the narrator is very peeved by this. The Gangrene Gang are all huddled around a payphone, taking turns prank. Ace calls a French guy and asks if he has any frog legs, to which the French guy replies, "But of course." And Ace asks if he hops to work then. Arturo Crank calls Professor Utonium and tricks him into holding on the phone, saying he's won $10 million. Poor Professor is excited to finally won something. Billy calls the lady, who almost immediately asks if this is a prank call because Billy is so bad at coming up with a joke. Ace grabs the phone from him and says, "Prince Albert in the fridge," before hanging up and telling Billy that was pathetic. Ace declares that they need to do bigger, badder pranks, something Townsville will remember for a long time. And we turn, and they look to Town Hall. Then Grubber, imitating Ms. Bellum, calls the mayor and tells him there's a ribbon-cutting ceremony at the mall that he needs to get to urgently. This is the first time we see Grubber using his voice-mimicking abilities properly, as in Buttercrush he sounded nothing like Buttercup, but was still able to fool Bubbles. Having tricked the mayor into leaving his office, the Gangrene Gang sneak into his office and use the Powerpuff hotline to prank call the girls. Meanwhile, Professor is still on the line hoping to get his $10 million. Grubber, pretending to be the mayor, tells the girls that MoJo Jojo is causing trouble, and the girls break into his volcano lair and pummel him. However, MoJo wasn't doing anything wrong at all. He was just lounging at home listening to the radio while taking a nap. The girls are confused and head home and receive a second call saying that Fuzzy Lumpkins has gone plumb crazy. They pummel the shit out of him only to realize that Fuzzy was simply enjoying a bath whilst playing his banjo. Upset and beginning to think the mayor's pranking them, they head home a second time. This time they receive a call about him, or Lobster Satan as I call him, and decide that the mayor would never joke about something as serious as him's brand of villainy. When they get to him's home, however, he's merely exercising in front of the TV. They ask him if he's getting up to anything evil, but he explains that he takes pride in staying in shape. Him is even kind of excited to see the girls, which I thought was cute. But when the girls leave, him is pissed and calls MoJo Jojo, who's already on the phone with Fuzzy Lumpkins, and they all agree they should complain to the mayor for the level of harassment that they'd endured that day for doing ordinary stuff. As MoJo says, they are citizens of Townsville nonetheless. Him dials the mayor's office to demand what's going on, but gets a sleepy Big Billy instead, who spills the beans that the Gangrene Gang have been behind the prank calls all along. Him, MoJo Jojo, and Fuzzy all crash into the mayor's office where they beat the living snot out of the Gangrene Gang for their misdeeds. The mayor finally returns to his office after the ribbon-cutting ceremony, sees the fight, and tries to call the girls, who've already gone back to bed for the night, but they don't believe him. He calls a second time and Buttercup blasts the hotline with her laser eye beams, destroying it. The girls say goodnight to the professor, who's still on hold, waiting for his money. And so that is the first time that the narrator declares that the day is saved by someone other than the girls. So my question for this episode is, have you ever made a prank phone call? And so I think I maybe tried it like once or twice, but I could never think of anything to say, so I just hung up. So yeah, not much to my history of pranking.
I think I got up to prank calling back in the day, but I can't remember any details about it, like who I called or what I said. I'm not sure if it was with one of my cousins or friends, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, I didn't attempt it on my own, but in a group setting it was attempted. But prank calling was easier to do back in the day before caller ID and you could just find a random number in the phone book and and go crazy if you wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. There's like almost no way now you could like do a prank call because there aren't even payphones anymore. Like the Gangrene Gang were using earlier in the episode.
Yeah, you can't be anonymous because when you call a cell phone anyway, it shows you the number. Even if you don't, it doesn't say who it is. It still shows you what number it is. So
yeah,
they can call you right back.
Yeah, even if you got like a burner phone, probably they'd still be able to like call you back because they'd be able to see your number.
So some things I noticed about the episode, like when the girls burst into him exercising, him was seemed genuinely glad to see them at first. Which was sort of funny. Or you already said that, didn't you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This kind of seemed like the boy who cried wolf a little bit. Because it was supposed to be the mayor calling them each time. And each time the Powerpuff Girls kind of believed the call. Less and less until the end. When the mayor was actually calling about something real happening, and they're like, no, we don't believe you, and then they just went back to sleep. They didn't even attempt to come and help the mayor. And also, MoJo called him Sir over the phone, which was kind of funny. Like, deferring to him a little bit.
Yeah, like he respects him a lot or something.
Yeah. And then it was fun to see what the villains do in their spare time. Like, MoJo seemed kind of boring. He was either watching the news or listening to the news, and he had the newspaper over him, and that Fuzzy was taking a bath with his banjo, and him was trying to get into shape, and like in a completely different workout outfit was pretty funny.
Yeah, it would be cute if we got to see more stuff like that, like the villains in their daily lives, or even just like the girls just doing like some more normal little kid stuff. I think that could be, that could be fun.
And then even with the prank calling, most people did not fall for their pranks except for the professor and the mayor. Everyone else was kind of like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I was surprised the professor was so gullible because, like, when you hang up a call, it makes a certain noise, and he just stood there like that all day. I'm like, no, Professor, no.
Maybe Professor's, like, secretly a robot, and he has to follow commands. Like, you must stay on the line. I don't know. Okay, so the second episode of this double episode was called Tough Love, and both these episodes first aired December 23rd, 1998. So it's too bad we didn't get a Christmas episode out of this.
Yeah. There is a Christmas special, but it's later on. I'm not sure exactly where it fits into the run of the show. But we will get to look forward to our Christmas special at some point. No Halloween special, though.
This episode opens with the Powerpuff Girls saving a cat in a tree that belongs to a little old lady. And they uproot the tree in the process. They save Miss Keene from falling on a roller skate. The mayor calls for help with opening a jar of pickles. And I noticed they broke the window as they were coming in to open this jar. And I think they broke the window on the way out, too.
They're always breaking shit.
The girls also help the professor with experiments. And the narrator goes on about how loved the Powerpuff Girls are. Next, we see him in the bathtub talking to his rubber ducky about how he hates the girls and wants to be rid of them. And we see his bare leg, but somehow it's still sort of shaped like his boot. Like it's in perma, tippy toe pointed, like a Barbie.
Yeah, like a Barbie.
Him drops a red gas over Townsville. When the girls try to save the cat in the tree again the next day, the cat viciously scratches Bubbles, and the old lady doesn't want their help. Miss Keene marks them tardy, although it seemed like they kind of just came in, like right at the bell. And she tells the class to throw things at them. When they go to answer the mayor's call and grab for the pickle jar, a SWAT team breaks in, and Miss Bellum pulls a gun on them. And usually Miss Bellum is like their biggest supporter.
Yeah, and she's typically like the voice of reason, and she's just whipping out a revolver.
And even the narrator is tired of them. The town and even the professor look evil with red eyes, and they all want to destroy the Powerpuff Girls. Him finally appears and admits that he turned their love for the Powerpuff Girls to hate. He licks the professor. The Townsvillians attack, and at first the girls don't fight back, but then realize they must fight the citizens to turn them back to normal, which is not pretty. They really pummel them. Him promises to come back, but we'll try something different next time. Everyone is in the hospital but forgives the Powerpuff Girls. We finally see Miss Bellum's head, but it is wrapped in bandages. The narrator calls for a sponge bath. So the him is voiced by Tom Kane, who also voices Professor Utonium and the talking dog, among others. And I just thought it was interesting that it seems like him just wants to be loved. Like, he's jealous that the Powerpuff Girls are so loved. Is that all him is worried about, is being loved? We haven't seen a whole lot of him, so I'm not sure if that's the objective. Or is it just to hate on the Powerpuff Girls?
He's secretly just a sad, misunderstood little guy.
And he's fabulous while doing it.
Yeah.
So, my question is, if I could drop a gas to get people to stop liking someone or something, what would it be? At first I was going to say Taylor Swift, but then I'm like, there's a bigger baddie out there. Not that Taylor Swift's a baddie, but she's been getting a lot of annoying, in my opinion, coverage lately. But I had to go with Donald Trump. And do I even need a reason? Also, sports. A casual like of sports is not problematic, but the worship year-round of all sports, so much so that you can't tear your eyes away for family events, is problematic.
Absolutely. So, I'm not totally sure, actually. There are probably so many, there's probably a couple celebrities I can think of who just, like, annoy me. So if I'm not going to say Taylor Swift, I gotta go with Benedict Cumberbatch.
I guess. I don't know what he's done to make that you would want everyone to hate him, but...
I just don't like the man. I can't explain why.
Okay. He's your Ben Affleck.
Yeah. Alright, so that was today's episode. Next time on MoJo JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, we're going to be discussing the episode's major competition and Mr. Mojo's Rising. So, it would be so helpful if you could subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment if you're feeling generous. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.